I don't do it now, I know I will forget. Oops, let's not jump ahead. Oops, sneak peek. Amelia, how were your classes today?
They were good. They were pretty relaxed. I have mostly everything done, so I was able to get out early. And I worked on my art today mostly, so it was
Oh,
a good
yeah.
day.
Yeah. Did you get to do it outside? So
I
pretty.
didn't because it feels too cold to me,
Oh, okay.
and
There.
inside is good for me. So
Gotcha. Gotcha. It is a little bit chilly. Yes. I know. I'll be honest. I got home from work today. I think today was just kind of one of those slow days. Everybody is feeling a little bit tired. So I got home and I needed a nap. So that's what I did.
Miss Buller, I'll be right back. I have to go check something. I'll be
No,
right back.
no worries.
Who would like to access the microphone?
Carrie, my husband's trying to join also. I think that might be him.
Oh, okay. Is that the make art?
Yeah.
I like this title, Make Art. Are you also an artist?
To me,
No, I think that he was trying to put in the password.
Oh, I love it. Hello, Julia. Hello, Kimberly. It's good to see you.
Hello, good to see you too.
Do you go by Kimberly or Kim?
I go by Kimberly. Thanks so much for asking.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
Kimberly means princess from the Royal Fortress Meadow. And when my mom held me for the first time, she said I was her little princess. So
I love that story.
thanks. And I guess you go by Carrie.
I do, yes.
Yep. But a lot of people shorten names without asking. And I try to always be sensitive to that.
Right. And it's just a good idea to ask students, how do you want to be called? How do
Yeah,
you
agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. Are we the only ones here so far?
So far, we're gonna wait maybe another minute before we get started because I know that there's some other students that told me that they would
Yeah,
be coming. So I see more.
I hear someone.
Yes. Hello, Lucy. Hello, Safa. It's good to see y'all tonight. Yeah, so we're gonna wait. Let's just give everybody maybe another minute, a minute and a half. I know that it's kind of an odd time to do this. So we'll get started soon. Hello, Nico. Hello, Lizzie. Good to see y'all here. I'm glad that you're joining us. Yeah, where are we in time? Let's just take maybe one more minute and then we will get started, just to be sensitive to everybody's time and evening tonight. All right, we'll go ahead and get started. Thank you, everybody, for taking a small part of your Thursday evening to join us tonight. I hope that our meeting tonight will be encouraging and also informative as you or your child is trying to figure out if AP Art and Design is right for them. So this should be short and sweet, and we'll have an opportunity to ask questions at the very end. So if you want to just take in the information for now, make notes as you need to, and then just hold those questions until the end. Hopefully we'll be able to answer most of them in the presentation. So the first thing is just providing you an overview with what AP Art and Design is as a course. And this verbiage is coming straight from College Board. I just simply copied and pasted it, just kept it as they wrote it. So in an art and design AP course, you'll develop the skills that artists and designers use and create a portfolio of work that you'll submit for an AP score. So I think when we think of AP classes, there's the famous exam in the very end, right? In May or even sometimes in June. But in an art and design course, it's structured a little bit different because the portfolio, the actual submission of artworks, is your exam. And so we'll look at kind of what goes into that portfolio in just a minute, but just know that you're actually submitting work traditionally, both digitally as well as physically. So you'll get a portfolio and then put some works in there and send it to College Board. The AP and Art and Design program includes 3 different courses and portfolio exams. So this year we're offering AP Drawing, and there's also an AP 3D Art and Design, which we are not offering just due to some space restrictions. And then also AP 2D Art and Design. And the reason why these are circled is because these are the ones that we were wanting to offer. However, as we've kind of deep dived into trying to figure out the logistics of this, unfortunately, it doesn't look like we can have 2 course codes offered at the same time. And so we were trying to figure out a way to make it work for me to be able to teach both. It seems like we're kind of leaning toward just offering AP 2D Art and Design. And we'll get into the differences between the 2 in a minute. But I think that we're definitely leaning into just having the AP 2D Art and Design for next year. And I think that this course is going to be a good fit for every student, no matter what it is that they want to explore. And we'll look at some examples in a minute of why that is. So we're talking about the skills that you learn in art and design, and there's 3 main skills that College Board identifies. And one of those is investigation. So investigating materials, so what you use to make something, processes, how you use those materials, and then of course ideas. So the concepts that artists and designers will use and how all of those 3 things work together. And then the second skill is experimentation. So practicing those skills, experimenting and revising as you create your own work. And then communication. So communicating your ideas about works of art and design. And that is accomplished through critique. We have constant critique. It's small group critique, it's in progress critique, and it's final critique. So talking about your work, as well as writing about your work. That's a big part of the portfolio in the end, is that there's a larger section of writing that students will get to write. It's kind of like their artist statement. And then they'll have smaller artist statements in another section of their portfolio. So just some of the visuals that you see here are some examples of some of that process with this sketchbook here. You can see more of a finished piece, and then you can see some examples of experimentation. And the goal for the course is that you'll create a portfolio of college level work and submit it for evaluation. So again, that's instead of taking a year-end paper and pencil AP exam. And a qualifying portfolio score can earn you college credit and or advanced placement. And we're just going to look at some examples of student work that was selected by College Board and put on an online gallery. So this is an example of a student working digitally. This is a digital painting, and this was submitted for the AP 2D design portfolio. This is an example of a work that was submitted in AP drawing. You can see some experimentation with the use of media here. This is a colored pencil, but also a t-shirt transfer as well that they've done in the background. This was submitted for AP drawing. This is charcoal and water. I believe that the student said in their artist statement that they were exploring how they felt when they were sick with a fever at different points of time in the day. And so, for example, I think some of their works were titled something like 2:10 p.m. or 3:30 p.m. So you can see here some experimentation, and it's not just kind of one style of work, that there's a bit of abstraction. There's also some that's a little bit more representational. So there really is a variety of what you can include in your portfolio. And then this one, I included this one because I think it's really interesting, and it speaks to that idea of experimentation and kind of pushing the boundaries of what you can see in a portfolio. This is obviously a three-dimensional work, but the student submitted it in the AP drawing portfolio, which you would traditionally think are flat two-dimensional objects. But because they were looking at specifically what College Board identifies as drawing skills, which includes mark making and line, you can kind of make a case that these pantyhose have been stretched and they're making lines, they're making marks, and especially you see the shadows on the walls. So I think it's a really interesting use of kind of always staying curious, always pushing those boundaries of what is considered 2D design, what is considered drawing as well. And I'm going to post the link to the rest of this. This is the 2020 Art and Design exhibit. And so, of course, we know that this past year has been an interesting mix. And so a lot of the works were submitted digitally instead of physically this last year. So these works were kind of in that in-between time of the pandemic. And so take a look at those. The link was posted in the chat, but it gives you a good idea of what students have been submitting. And these are high-level examples, but I think it's good to start there just to see what you're capable of, and also what students have been doing for the portfolios. So since we are kind of on this trajectory of, I think, offering 2D design and not drawing for next year, just know that 2D design, because there's a wide range of possibility of works that can be submitted, I think it's safe to say that you can plug in fashion design if you want to, interior design, architecture. You can explore more traditional media like painting or drawing. It's kind of this catch-all category. And they define 2D art and design skills as really kind of a wide range of things. There's about 25 skills that they've identified. We'll look at some of those in a minute, but it really is a portfolio that I think will fit for every student's wants and needs. So how it's assessed is that there are two main sections of the portfolio. And the biggest one, as you can see, is the 60% of the score that students would receive in the end is made up by this sustained investigation, or an SI as we call it in AP. And so you'll see here that it's 15 digital images and responses to prompts. And some of these may be detail or process images. So when you hear 15, you're probably thinking 15 separate works, but really how it works is that you could have maybe 8 finished pieces, and the other 7 images that you put for your sustained investigation could be details. If you do some kind of intricate,
Could they be sketches?
yeah, it could be sketches. It could be if you do some kind of intricate textile weaving, for example, and you want to show some of the detail because it is so intricate and it took you a long time to make it, then you could put a detail shot. So it's showing, they really want to show the process of creation and not just finished pieces. And that's a more recent change that they've made to the portfolio. It used to be something that was totally different. And I really think that this change has been a positive thing. And then the images will demonstrate sustained investigation through practice, experimentation, and revision. So again, those skills that we're looking at. So really pushing the boundaries, looking at how do I, as an artist, start to explore just some new horizons. And then selected works, that's the second category, that's worth 40% of the score. And those are 5 artworks and responses to prompts. And in the past, those have been actually physically sent to College Board, and they will be scored and assessed by trained readers for the AP, typically college professors or other high school art teachers who have gone through some intensive training. However, just due to the pandemic, that is all submitted digitally, and I'm not sure what it will be for the 21-22 school year. We'll just have to kind of wait and see. But typically what will happen is that they will actually send a physical portfolio that has your name printed on it, and then students will mat their work and then put those 5 images in, seal them up, and then send them off to College Board. But again, we're doing that digitally this year. And those works demonstrate a synthesis. So this is a word that if you end up taking AP Art and Design, we spend a lot of time in the beginning of the class looking at what is the definition of synthesis. And essentially just a short explanation of it is that it's just kind of this marriage of materials. So what you use, how you use it, and how they work together to explain your idea. So you don't want to make sure that, or you want to avoid just creating something just for the sake of creating it, not really thinking through what it is that you're doing and why you're doing it, right? So that's what they're looking for there. And then work can come, but it doesn't have to. It can come from the sustained investigation section. So a lot of students, that's where we're going to spend the bulk of our time during the year. It's kind of like an independent study. It's really driven by student ideas, and it has a lot of student voice, a lot of student choice. And it's really the student is in the driver's seat as an artist, and they're making lots of decisions driven by curiosity, about an idea that they have, and they're constantly pushing, constantly exploring different ways of working with materials and media. And it's really kind of fun. I think it's probably the most fun AP course, but I'm a little bit biased. And the drawing portfolio, we're not going to spend time looking at this because I think that honestly, we're not going to be able to offer it. But if you look at it just quickly, you'll notice that the requirements are the same. It's still sustained investigation, 15 images, and selected works, 5 images. And the real difference is, like, what is the difference? Why would you take the difference between the two? There's a lot of crossover anyway. It's just how College Board defines drawing skills versus 2D design skills, which we'll look at in just a minute. So course expectations, here's where you start to think, is this really for me? Is this going to be a good fit for me? I think what will the successful student in AP Design just think through these things and think, is this something that I would like to take on? So we're looking at summer assignments. There's not going to be any reading. There'll be a small amount of writing about your artwork, just to get used to, prepared to, this is coming in the future. And if you're in Art 3, you're already used to doing this anyway. It's not really anything new. You're going to complete 3 summer art assignments, and those will be TBA. But it's something that you could plug into your selected works section if you want to. You should be able to work independently to meet deadlines. So I will oftentimes give you a deadline. And then, of course, as an artist, as a designer, we've got to constantly meet those deadlines. So it's just making sure that you are working to meet those and that you're able to progress a little bit more independently. So you should be able to see if we've got a task, you are able to kind of set those steps of this is what I need to get done within that amount of time. And I'm going to set a plan and then go for it. Of course, I'll be there to help monitor that. But a lot of it is as a college level class, you're expected to do that a little bit more independently. You'll be expected to develop and research ideas. So remember, ideas, processes, media, those are the three kind of pillars of creating your portfolio. And so you'll choose an idea in the very beginning. We'll spend a lot of time at the beginning of class doing that in quarter 1. So you'll choose an idea that you want to explore for the rest of the year. And of course, it's kind of like a tree. It'll branch out, it'll probably morph and evolve, and that's how it should be. And then we'll do that through the lens of why and how other artists and designers make art. So looking at contemporary as well as historical artists, you'll get to research artists and designers that are impactful to your own practice. Again, if you're in Art 3, and even if students are in Art 2, you've done this to some degree before. It's just starting to make more connections that impact your own work. There'll be a lot of experimentation and practice. So again, this will be on an individual basis. I think the studio just kind of becomes magic when students are busy being creative and curious, and that's what this is. So always staying curious, always asking questions of, what if I do this? Or what happens if I experiment with this media? Or why does this artist do that? I think I want to explore that, right? So it's just constant questions. You'll participate in critiques and discussions. And I think the importance of that is just building that community. And it's going to be a really special, I think, class to do that. And then, of course, sharing your work. So the idea of curation, being able to kind of narrate this idea of your investigation, as well as exhibiting your work, and then, of course, through writing. And then, of course, the question, is AP Art and Design right for me? And I think that's just something, these are some questions that can help guide you in answering that question. But I think essentially, if you have a passion for creating, if you have a passion for making, then it could be right for you. If you're curious, if you're constantly wondering, like, what if or why, then it's good for you. If you're up for a challenge of expanding your artistic practices and your artistic voice, if you want to explore a creative field in the future, whether that's, again, illustration or some kind of fine arts, whether it's more design, architecture, interior design, fashion, or if you just can't imagine life without art in it and you want that artistic challenge, then I think it would be good for you. And then, of course, that element of small supportive community with other high school creatives. I think it's really just nothing compares to that in your high school experience of, if you are kind of this creative and you're in that community with other people that challenge you in your practice, it's a really amazing thing. So if any of this applies to you, then I think that AP 2D design would be a great fit for you. So again, let's look at the AP 2D design. You can kind of look at AP drawing just to compare what it is, and especially if there are any juniors in here that are interested in taking 2D design, then of course next year you would be able to take, we could probably look at switching or alternating every year of 2D design one year, AP drawing the next, and then keep going in that way. So 2D design skills. And you'll see the etc. here because the list really is very long, but point, shape, plane, layer, form, space, texture, color, right? And you can keep reading. So it's pretty open-ended, and you see the overlap. Like, a lot of that can go with design, a lot of that can go with drawing, painting. Some of the skills or some of the fields that you can tap into quite easily is illustration or fashion design, interior design, collage, installation, graphic design. drawing, painting, and printmaking. So there really is a wide range of what you can explore here. And these are just some examples, not of student work, but of professional artists' work, just showing what you could explore here. So you can see some wall textile installations. I know we have some students that are really interested in textiles and sewing. You can imagine some kind of large scale exploration of that. This is embroidery. You could totally do something like that. If you're interested in fashion, you can design fashions. You can create fashion sketchbooks. Again, you can see some of the skills here at play: opacity and layering. If you're interested in interiors, your whole investigation could be exploring interior design, and you could look at drafting. You could also focus more on interior drawings, paintings. If student is interested more in mark making and they want to experiment with that, or if they want to experiment with working on unusual surfaces. You can see that this has been collaged, so it's quite a large piece, but all those really sophisticated marks there. So just, I mean, there's so many possibilities here for what you can do. And I hope that just by seeing some examples, that it gets you really excited for the possibilities of this. All right, so that's kind of a lot of information, and maybe you just want to sit with it to unpack it, but we have the opportunity now to take some questions. So what questions do you have that I can help with? You can feel free to ask them, or you can put them in the chat too, if you want. No questions? Okay. And it's okay. And if you're a student, and again, if you think of some questions after you kind of sit with this, just let me know. You can email me or talk to me next time you have me in class. There is a parent commitment form that your parent or parents who are joining us tonight, you'll need to fill it out. So if your student wants to sign up for AP Art and Design, you just need to make sure your parent or guardian has filled this out. And the week of May 3rd, that's when we have EOCs and our end of course testing. And so when you're in school to take those, then you will also have an opportunity when those tests are finished, you'll go to advisory, and then you'll get to start choosing some of your course selections. And so that will be the week of May 3rd. So before you can choose an AP class, you just need to make sure that your parent has filled out this commitment form. So I'm going to put that link into the chat. And that should be there. And I do see a question from Kimberly in regard to grading. Does it elevate the GPA according to what grade you make? Yes, that's a great question. There are 5 additional points that are added for an AP course. So let's say that your Canvas says that you have made a 90, and then for PowerSchool, we would add an additional 5 points, just the fact that you're taking a more advanced class. Good question. Are there any other questions?
Yes, I have a question.
Yeah.
So when you said at the end of like the year, like May, when we're like deciding to choose our classes and stuff like that, will our classes be like finalized so we can start like our summer portfolio and work and stuff like that?
Yes, I do think that your AP classes should be finalized so that, I mean, you will need to know if you're in the class in order to get that summer work. So yes, I do think so.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. And another question, when will the students receive the summer assignments? I haven't heard one way or another, but for me, I think it would be good to give those out before the students leave for the summer. That way they can ask me in person if they would like to. So that's my goal, is that students will have those assignments in their hand before summer break. All right. So students who are here, how do y'all feel about the possibility of AP Art and Design?
I'm excited. I love art.
I'm really
so-
excited.
and I haven't done it since 9th grade, so I'm excited to come back.
Yay! Well, I'm excited to have you back. I think it's going to be a really good thing. And I think, fingers crossed, our schedule can return to more normal than it has been this year. And I think just being back in the studio space and having access to those materials, and then of course everybody's feeding off of the creativity of one another. I think it's going to be a really great thing. I see there's one more question. Any local summer programs the students should sign up for? I think, Memphis College of Art used to offer some. I'm not sure if that's still happening this year. I can look into it a little bit more if you would like, and I can get back with you about that. There's probably some more that I just can't think of off the top of my head at the moment, but I can let you know. All right. Well, if you don't have any more questions, y'all are good to go. And again, if you think of some,
So the link in the chat, that's what we should use for the form.
yeah, so it's the one that has the docs on it. Just make sure that your mom or dad fills that out, just saying that you've attended the meeting.
I don't know if I don't know difference. I'm still not 100% on the difference between drawing and 2D design.
Yeah, there's a lot of crossover, honestly. And, I think we're just going to offer 2D design. So Julia, like if you want to explore more of your style of drawing, I think that could easily fit in either portfolio. So just having 2D design, it should be fine.
Okay.
Yep. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining tonight. Appreciate you being here. Students, I will see y'all next week. And parents, thanks for tuning in.
Thank you, Ms.
Thank you.
Fuller. Have a
Thank
good
you.
day.
Hi, Miss Bowler.
Bye.
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 Bye.